Hello, this is a reading for Taurus for the new year for January 2017. And this will be the first reading I've done for you, so I'm glad to have you here. And if you haven't already done so, please check out the introductory videos that I've done on how I do these readings and the ones where I just introduce a little bit about myself and how I approach this. Um, but other than that, we'll get right into it. So, my Taurus friends, I have for your current situation the Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Wands indicates that recently there have been periods, or there has been a period where everything has gone sort of like harmoniously and has affected the people involved positively. But now there's sort of like frustration or sort of a need to defend yourself all the time. You feel as though you're at odds, perhaps creatively or um, maybe just in a relationship, where things were going very well, but now it's just like feeling a little bit tedious. And because what's crossing you is the Page of Swords. And the Page of Swords is like this is a very colorful personality. This is somebody who is a very go-getter type, but they can sort of steamroll and trample over what other people's feelings are to get what they're after. They're it's not always the most sympathetic person. It's a person who has learned the strength of their will, and they are just starting to exercise it pretty assertively. So, like I said, they can kind of charge ahead and go after what they want without as much consideration for others as sometimes we would like, and that's what's crossing you, is that this person is just sort of charging ahead with their own views and opinions and maybe not considering yours enough. And what got you here was the Five of Cups, which is about, you can see in this, the Five Cups, two of them are behind the figure and they're upright, and then the three of them in front are spilled over or broken. And this is about, not recognizing the positive side, about focusing on the negative in a situation, about overemphasizing black and not taking into consideration white. And that's sort of what's got you into this situation. So perhaps you were seeking after something that you didn't actually need, but your ego wanted it, and as you're finding out that it doesn't really coalesce with your sort of life path or life goals, it's going to leave you with a sense of sadness or disappointment. And that is sort of what got you to the situation that you're in now, or the reason that you're feeling like you need to defend yourself. It's because your own subconscious knowledge and knowing that the situation you're in might not be very right is going to create adversarial situations to stir up some trouble so that you can sort of avoid stagnant energy and you can make it go one way or the other. And your subconscious is going to do that whether you want to or not, or whether you realize you're doing it. Things will just sort of come up. You'll make mistakes that just so obviously bring up an issue, that mirror a problem that you've had with your, significant other or whatever. And then what I see in sort of where you're moving toward is this hermit energy, which is more secluded, introspective, taking a look inside instead of the external situation. And this is going to happen to move you forward out of the cycle, whether you do it by choice or whether the situation gets so bad you don't have any other choice than to sit there and get introspective. Or I've had experiences before where I was very in need of an introspective journey, but so intensely that there was no way for me to just calm down and let that happen. And the universe has a way of slowing you down, whether you want to or not, forcing you into that introspective place, almost beautifully, like when you need it. Um, but this is going to have to happen one way or the other. You're not going to be able to just jump on the back of some other, emotional support or something that you've established. This is going to be a little bit of a painful process, apparently. What's in your subconscious or your foundation is the Eight of Swords, which indicates that you feel trapped, um, uh, powerless. You can see in this artwork here, she's tied up, and there's swords that are like blocking all around her. In the original artwork, she's blindfolded, and there's just one path between the swords in the middle there, which indicates that there is a way out. Even though you feel very trapped, there is a way out, but you're not going to be able to see it, or you're not going to be able to navigate to that way out with with experience or with the things that you know. You're going to have to approach this intuitively, and you're going to have to sort of feel your way out of the situation that you're in. And it's going to require you not focusing on the people who are the characters in this story, in this situation, and more focusing on your moment-to-moment feelings. How are you feeling? And keep track, keep sort of like a mental tally. Are you consistently feeling negative or down on yourself around a specific individual? And if that's the case, and you feel that way more than you feel good around them, then it's obviously, however good they make you feel, it's obviously a net negative to you, and that's not a good thing to stay in. That's essentially like an addiction. That's when it becomes negatively affecting your life, that you're pouring energy into something. Uh, so you want to be careful with that. In your crowning thoughts, or in your higher thinking consciousness, is the Four of Cups, which goes along with this. This is really about, you can see the figure is sort of like staring listlessly into the water while these little cups are floating above his head. And the reason he's doing that is because we all come to a point, once we achieve the physical goal that we've set, the thing that we set out to get, what we desire, once we've achieved that, it really only fills that hole in us that need to be happiness, for a brief while. And then after a while, you figure, there is no end to this process. I'm going to have to go out and find a new goal, find something else to devote my life to. There's no end to this process. You have to keep going. So a natural part of that process is this sense of sort of sadness or disappointment, or sometimes not even that, but some sort of a disillusionment, like a numbness to the world, where you seek a new inspiration. And sometimes it can almost feel like a desert. You go through a period where you just feel like your emotions are just dried up. There's nothing there. Nothing inspires you, and it signals that you're clinging to a dead path, like a dead way of life, a path that's no longer suiting you and no longer encouraging you to grow, And so it may be time to move on from that. Your advice for achieving your sort of ego's desired outcome in this situation would be the Queen of Swords, which means, because what's crossing you is the Page of Swords here, you're going to have to one-up that. You're going to have to be a more mature version of the Page of Swords. Someone who is very strong-willed and knows how to, get what you want, and is very assertive, but also have more maturity and more experience and utilize that, and don't sort of sink to the level of someone who's more mature than you. Like, keep it at a mature level and know when sometimes turning around or walking away is the answer, you know. And that's what that's really about. Your current environment, we have the Queen of Cups for you. And I'm taking this to sort of mean that now the Queen of Cups is like it's a very emotionally balanced and flowing person. Um, and the thing about the Queen of Cups is, compared to the other queens, this one I always view as sort of more delicate. It's someone who needs to protect themselves from sort of like probing and harsh environments, and so that's what you're in right now as the environment card. And so protect your emotional depth and your sensitivity. If something is sort of robbing you of that and numbing you to the world, they are robbing the world of something that's very beautiful. So you need to cherish it and hold on to it, you know. For your fears card, we have Temperance. Now, this one is a little bit more of a stretch, but with Temperance, this is normally, you know, indicating a balance of like male and female energy, or being uh, being able to sort of like take a spark, a creative energy, and sort of mold it and fashion it into something with discipline that is beautiful, or you know, expressive, or something like that. So Temperance is normally a very good thing. Now, in your fears, uh, in the fears position, it's a little bit different. So it's probably more indicating that you have this sort of latent need for drama, and it's built up over time because you've wanted something to work, and you've wanted it to work, you know, for so long, and you've invested so much energy into it. So you're sort of afraid of going into a situation now that's anything other than what you've become accustomed to and what's given you comfort, you know? You've gotten caught in a mental loop. And so you're afraid of achieving balance that you know you need, um, because you've just become comfortable in the spot you're in. And, you know, suffering can be one of the most comfortable positions for a person's mentality to be in, period. And I mean, that's very well known, even in the church. You know, they impose a system of mental anguish or suffering, which, as long as you're suffering, you know, you're in the right. You know, you've got God on your side, or something to that effect, you know. And I don't know why people do that to themselves, but they do. And it's just sort of indicative of you're trying to make something work that's just not serving you or not suiting you properly. And your overall message reinforces the same idea here with the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords is, it's really sort of end of the line. This is like rock bottom. You know, this is, it really, it doesn't, there's nowhere to go but up from here, you know, like this is dead. The situation is, it's lifeless. You're clinging to something that you've just got to let go, that you haven't wanted to. It's been a very big struggle for you, but it's the only answer for you to move forward and to see the sunrise on the next morning, which is sort of artistically done in this card, behind the little figure there. But in the original artwork, it's just sort of a vague outline of the sunrise in the background, and it's the one ray of positivity that is in that card. And it's really, it's not as cheery as you would like for an overall message, but it is suggesting that the struggle, the pain is virtually over. Once you can accept that it's over, you can begin the path to feeling better and to healing immediately if you choose to. It's only going to be you that keeps you in this position, this locked up struggle. And it may be because you're simply afraid to move forward. You're afraid you don't know the right path, and you're afraid to choose one. But every now and then in life, you've got to just make big decisions, and just drop them in. And then as the result of those big decisions, and as the result of you being um, very cautious about making those big decisions very often, or like imposing your will too much. Very often it works out a lot better than you would have thought, just because you've been so conservative with that will, with your power, your manifestation. But interesting reading. I think it could be very helpful for some of you. It feels like some of you are really stuck, my Taurus friends, and they're some of my favorites because always very concerned with love, with happy thoughts and happy families and connections. Very deep, loving people. So I hope everything is going well with you. Until next time, I will see you.